In September 2019, Eli Becker, a junior analyst at the Internet Crimes Against Children (ICAC) unit in Virginia, received a routine alert from Project Arachnid, a Canadian web-crawling AI designed to detect known child exploitation content online. This alert wasn't routine. It flagged a torrent that had evaded the hash database, a new video never before cataloged. The file name was simple. It originated from a .onion address the AI hadn't indexed before. Becker routed the request through a secure machine, launched Tails OS, and accessed the dark web tracker. The torrent had 4 seeds, all masked through I2P. He pulled it. It was exactly 31 minutes and 12 seconds long. The video began with static, then faded into footage of a concrete room with low, gray walls. A girl sat in the center, maybe 9 or 10 years old. She wore a pink hoodie, barefoot, with her hands tied in front of her. There were no voices, just the low hum of an old generator. Then a text overlay appeared. Rot. Room 145. Session 11. Votes are binding. The camera cut briefly to a computer screen. A web interface showed 5 voting options. Remove clothing. Electrical prod. Knife to arm. Cut audio. End session. Each vote had a Bitcoin value next to it. Viewers were actively submitting transactions. The BTC wallet was public. Eli traced a few addresses. They were real. Transactions were time-stamped, small amounts sent by hundreds of anonymous users, all logged as votes. As the video progressed, the knife-to-arm vote won. Someone stepped into frame. No face shown, just gloves, and the hand holding a surgical blade. The girl flinched, and the feed went dark. Eli had seen hundreds of abuse cases. This wasn't abuse. This was ritualized torture with audience participation. He scrubbed the metadata. The file's origin matched a cluster of servers once used by Boys Town, a now dismantled pedophilia forum on the darknet. More chilling, the BTC wallet had made repeated payments to addresses associated with Peter Scully's defunct No Limits Fun domain. This was more than a video. It was evidence of a living system. Eli compiled a report, but when he submitted it through standard FBI channels, the file bounced. He tried again, encrypted, nothing. Then, 2 days later, his work laptop froze mid-session. His webcam light blinked. A message appeared on screen. You've seen too much. His entire hard drive wiped itself in under 60 seconds. Eli went home, panicked, but it didn't stop. That night, someone slid a USB stick under his door. No note, no markings. He ran it through a forensic sandbox. It contained one file, a virtual machine image. Inside, a fully functioning archive of ROT sessions 101 through 159. Each session folder contained a full-length video, the vote logs, BTC wallet addresses, outcome photos. Some even included victim intake forms, labeled with real names, origins, and conditioning levels. Children from the Philippines, Ukraine, South Africa, Romania. Dozens of names. One girl, aged 7, had a folder labeled Retired, Non-Responsive. The video showed her motionless, eyes open, blood under her nose, no breathing. Session 132 was just 90 seconds long. She never blinked. Eli sent fragments of the data to Europol via a covert Dropbox. A week later, a German contact confirmed. The same server infrastructure had been identified during the Boys Town takedown in Frankfurt, but access logs had been purged. The IP patterns from the ROT machine matched outgoing traffic from a military proxy node in Kosovo, owned by a private cybersecurity contractor with ties to U.S. defense contracts. It was a false flag mask used to redirect blame. The implications were chilling. Someone with military-grade cyber capability was hosting and distributing these videos. And worse, the session logs showed viewer IPs geolocated to government buildings, international NGOs, even one embassy. Eli realized this wasn't some fringe sadist cult. It was a business, a live-streamed enterprise for the elite, and someone was making millions from it. He kept digging. The VM had a hidden command shell. Behind a fake voting menu was a backdoor, logs of administrative activity. One admin account kept appearing, Orchid Admin 0. In several logs, this user commented directly on sessions. One note on session 151 read, "Too much blood. Lost 3 paying viewers. Scheduled Daisy-type content next." Daisy. That name struck Eli like a bullet. In 2014, the video Daisy's Destruction, created by Peter Scully, shocked the world. It was labeled the most horrific known child abuse video ever recorded. The girl in that video was just 18 months old. The VM files referenced Daisy replications multiple times. One file even listed a pilot session titled Daisy 2 Trial v2.ts. The repeat of the unspeakable, branded as content. But it wasn't archived. It was live. At 2:13 a.m., Eli's Tor browser auto-refreshed and redirected to a private .onion page. He hadn't clicked anything. It was a countdown clock. ROT 160, 03:47:19 remaining. He watched it tick down. No one else online. No forum chatter. Just one note below the timer. Special participant feed. Priority vote enabled. There was no Bitcoin wallet this time. The vote screen loaded early. Eli was stunned, because the victim profile had his own photo attached, taken that morning, walking to work. The menu options were all blank, just one button labeled, Witness or Become. The page went black. Then, a live feed from a basement. Chains hanging from the ceiling. A figure sat strapped in a chair, hooded. The camera zoomed in. The hood was pulled back. It was Eli. No, not him. A clone? A deepfake? He didn't know. But the image was flawless. And the viewers, hundreds of them, were already voting. He yanked the Ethernet cable from his system, crushed the USB, and ran. Eli went into hiding. He tried alerting journalists. His messages bounced. Contacts ghosted him. Even the few who believed him were too afraid. In December 2020, a public dump of 14 ROT session files appeared on ZeroBin briefly. They were deleted within 6 minutes. The site was seized. No one claimed responsibility. But some had saved copies. Researchers confirmed the authenticity. One session had clear footage of a child kidnapped in Belgium, last seen in 2018. Another had footage of a girl in Kenya, confirmed missing in 2016. Interpol quietly confirmed 4 of the children were real. 3 had been listed deceased. It is now 2025. No public arrest has been made. No ROT operator has been named. But the Bitcoin wallets remain active. Transactions continue, anonymous and regular. Every few months, reports surface of a new video, new coordinates, new victims, each tagged with a single chilling symbol, and a phrase in base 64 appears in the header. Eli decoded it once. Only the dark see the flowers bloom. It was just a joke. That's how it started. On a rainy November night in 2022, 4 college students sat in their dorm room at Columbia University, crowded around a flickering screen. They called themselves the 404 Club, a dumb inside joke about getting lost online. They weren't hackers, not really. Just cyber-curious computer science majors, obsessed with cryptography and digital ghost stories. That night, Micah, the quietest of the group, told them about a myth he'd read on an old image board. It's called Page Zero. Supposedly it's the first hidden service ever created on the dark web. Pre-Tor, like 1997 or something. That's impossible, said Jenna. Tor didn't exist back then. Exactly, Micah whispered. That's what makes it creepy. People say it was hosted on a private military subnet, but somehow accessible to civilians. You could only reach it through a broken onion mirror, one that only showed up if your system clock was off by a certain amount. The rest of the web didn't even acknowledge it existed. What was on it? Just text. One long page. No links. No source code. Just writing. A story. And the story changed depending on who read it. The room fell silent for a second. Bullshit, said Connor. Creepypasta garbage. But Micah didn't laugh. I found a partial hash of it. It's real. 2 nights later, they tried to find it. Jenna rewrote their system clock to 1970. Micah set up a sandboxed Tails environment. Connor linked a spider-bot to an old list of dead.onion directories. It was Rowan who finally stumbled upon it. A onion address buried in a dead mirror, logged in a 2011 Tor archive. It wasn't clickable, just base 64 text. They decoded it. Micah input the address manually. The screen went black, then white, then the text began to appear. It was like a diary entry, roughly written, sometimes rambling. The first lines were harmless. I was 7 when I first saw the man in the static. He didn't speak. He just stared through the screen. Then, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing the hum of my old CRT monitor, even when it was off. My mom thought I was just scared of the dark, but I knew it wasn't the dark. It was the space behind the screen. And finally, at 3:13 a.m., the page refreshed itself. The text was different. It said, "You are not alone in the room." Rowan looked up. Yo, Micah, did you write this? No. Connor checked the source code. It was empty. No HTML, no scripts, no CSS, just raw text. It shouldn't have rendered. It shouldn't have been possible. Then Jenna noticed the time. 3:13 a.m., the exact line from the story. They all laughed it off nervously. Okay, said Connor. Nice scare. Let's call it a night. But as he stood to leave, there was a knock at the dorm room door. 3 soft taps. No one moved. Another knock, slightly louder. Jenna stood up and opened the door. No one was there. Just a small black envelope on the floor. She picked it up. Inside, a single Polaroid photograph. It was a grainy image of the 4 of them, from behind, sitting around the laptop. Timestamp 3:13 a.m. The next day, Rowan didn't show up for class. They thought he was just freaked out. But by nightfall, his bed was still made. His clothes were still folded. His phone was on the charger. He was just gone. They went to the campus police, but with no evidence of foul play, it was treated as a voluntary disappearance. The group disbanded. Micah stopped returning messages. Jenna withdrew from her courses. Connor grew paranoid. He stopped going outside, stopped using the internet, but it didn't help. At 3:13 a.m., the lights in his room would flicker, and he kept seeing a man in his screen, not reflected, within it, just behind the glass like he was watching from the other side. 1 week later, Jenna showed up at Connor's door. She was pale, shaking, holding a flash drive. He sent me a video, Rowan, from a burner account. They plugged it in. It was grainy, like old VHS footage. Rowan sat in a room that looked identical to his dorm, except for one thing. The walls were covered in post-it notes, each scrawled with different timestamps. "Don't look too long," he whispered in the video. "The page sees through your eyes. It writes you." He pointed at a wall. Written in marker, "Do not read your version to the end." Then the video cut to static. Connor noticed something in the reflection of the monitor behind. Rowan. A face. Jenna returned to her dorm that night. Connor never heard from her again. 3 days later, her roommate found her sitting motionless at her desk, the page 0 tab open. Her pupils were completely dilated, her mouth slightly open. She was alive, but completely unresponsive. Doctors called it unexplained catatonia. Micah, too, was gone. Connor was alone now. He smashed his laptop, destroyed his router, and bought a flip phone. No internet, no computer, just analog. But the screen never left him. The face behind the glass. Connor returned to the university library, one of the few places where he could access records without logging in. He found an article from 2003 written by a retired NSA cryptographer. The article described a classified experiment from 1997 involving artificial language models run on isolated servers. One program, designed to mimic human speech and narrative structure, began producing disturbing texts. Each time it was run, it told a different version of the same story. But it always ended the same way, with a line of text that predicted the death or disappearance of the reader. The project was shelved. The article ended with a quote. "We created something we didn't understand. A text engine that reads back into you. Language as a mirror, a virus." The project codename? Page 0. Connor vanished in December. His apartment was empty. His bed, made. His computer, missing. Only a single note was left behind, scrawled on the wall in pen. "The story ends when you stop reading, but by then, it's already started writing you." No one has seen or heard from any of them since. But every now and then, a user on a dark web forum posts a familiar message. "Found a strange site. Page 0.darknet static.onion. Anyone know what this is?" They never post again. And the site, it still loads. It always loads. And when it does, the first line is always the same. "You are not alone in the room." It started as a curiosity, just an idle scroll through a late-night Reddit thread titled, "What's the scariest thing you've ever seen on the dark web?" Most replies were laughable. Fake hitman sites, onion mirrors for weird fetish communities, Bitcoin scam storefronts. But buried among the replies was a single post with 0 upvotes, no comments, and a dead username. "You're not supposed to find session number 2219. If it loads, it's already too late. The watchers don't like freeloaders." The post included nothing else, just a strange Tor link, broken up with spaces to avoid auto-removal. Nick was a second-year IT student at Purdue. He wasn't a hacker, just obsessed with digital horror and cyber-urban legends. Red Rooms fascinated him, the idea that somewhere out there, someone was live-streaming torture for cryptocurrency. Of course, he didn't really believe they existed. No one had ever found a working Red Room. They were just the boogeyman of the internet. He loaded Tails, launched Tor, and typed the link. The page blinked once. Then it loaded. There was no landing page, just a black background with a single white box in the middle of the screen. "Session Tier 219 initiating, confirm viewing." Yes, no paywall, no Bitcoin prompt, no login, just yes or no. His heart pounded. It had to be a prank, maybe a jump scare site. Nick clicked yes. The screen flickered. Then a live video feed began. The stream showed a cold, industrial-looking room. Bare concrete walls, a camera mounted high in the corner. In the center sat a woman in her late 20s, tied to a metal chair. She was blindfolded and gagged. Duct tape wrapped her ankles to the legs of the chair. Her breathing was fast and shallow. In the bottom left corner, a viewer counter ticked up. 147 viewers. The chat log on the side was active, but Nick couldn't type anything. He was just a ghost viewer, watching in silent mode. He could only read. Usernames scrolled past quickly. Pugmask3, she's awake, good. You are next 2199. Don't fall asleep, Nick. Meatman11, bet she breaks in 10. Nick's blood ran cold. His name was in the chat. He hadn't typed it, hadn't logged in, hadn't shared anything. He backed away from the laptop, glancing around his dorm room. His webcam light was off. His mic, too. He reached for the power button, but the stream didn't stop. A sharp tone rang out from the stream, like a bell in a school hallway. Then a text overlay appeared. Session 219 is now interactive. A new box popped up beneath the video. Vote for the next action. Remove blindfold. Use the cattle prod. Play white noise. Cut her hair. End session. Each option had a vote count beside it. The second option, use the cattle prod, quickly pulled ahead. A door in the stream's background opened, and a masked figure entered. They were wearing red hospital scrubs, face obscured by a featureless white mask. They walked with slow, deliberate steps, holding something metallic in one hand. Nick's stomach dropped. This was real. No way this was faked. No actress would fake that kind of panic. The trembling, the way she tried to shrink into the chair, the stink of authentic fear through the screen. He slammed his laptop shut. Blackness, silence. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number, just one message. Don't look away during your session. When he opened the laptop again, it hadn't shut off. The stream was still running. Only now there were two video feeds. The first, the same woman, crying, bleeding from the shoulder. The second, a live feed of Nick's dorm room viewed from the corner, just like the camera angle in the red room. Except Nick didn't have a camera in that corner. He turned his head slowly. Nothing, just the wall. But the stream clearly showed him, sitting, breathing heavily, staring into the laptop. The chat exploded. Meatman11, there he is. Mask mod. Session 220 confirmed. You are next 219. We always double up. He tried shutting down Tails. Didn't work. Tried yanking the power cord. No effect. Tried slamming the laptop shut again. Nothing. The screen kept glowing. The stream wouldn't stop. That night, the fire alarm in the dorm went off at 2:19 a.m. Everyone evacuated. Except Nick. He stayed. He barricaded the door and turned off the lights. He could still see the second feed, his room, on the stream. It was empty now, but not for long. From the edge of the frame, a figure entered, dressed in red scrubs. Same mask, same slow walk. In the feed, the masked figure reached down to the floor, lifted something, a crowbar. Nick turned in real life. No one was there. He could feel it. The silence. The stillness. Too thick to be empty. Too heavy to be alone. His phone buzzed again. Open the door. We don't knock twice. Nick ran. He fled the room, barefoot, sprinted down 4 flights of stairs, and burst into the campus police office screaming about cameras, about hackers, about torture rooms. They found nothing. No evidence, no mask, no crowbar, no second feed. His laptop? Completely clean. No logs, no Tor history, nothing but a single blank HTML file on the desktop. It was titled, You are 219 HTML. He opened it. Just one line of text. Thank you for watching. You're next. Nick was never seen again. 2 weeks later, a new thread appeared on Reddit under a throwaway account. Ever heard of Session 220? It starts when you stop watching. You can't find it. It finds you. It had 0 upvotes, no comments, just a link, broken up like the last one. Some say if you load it, your webcam light blinks once. Then it turns red. And if it stays red, you're the next feed. I was a freelance digital security consultant. Still am, I guess. I've worked with private clients, banks, even the government once. My job was to test systems for holes, expose weaknesses, penetration testing, phishing simulations, social engineering, all the dirty digital work most people never think about. One night in October 2022, I received an email from a burner account. Subject, S73 beta access confirmed. The body was empty except for one link. There was no context, no instructions, just the eerie suggestion that I'd been granted access to something exclusive. I should have deleted it. But I was tired, buzzed on energy drinks, and the paranoia switch in my brain hadn't flipped on yet. So I loaded up Tails, fired up Tor, and entered the URL. The page took nearly 2 minutes to load. Then the screen went black. A single red key slowly faded into view, spinning. Then the text, "Welcome to Red Room, Session 73. Viewers, 0, slots, 1. Do you accept? Yes. No." My gut tightened. I hovered the mouse over no, but before I could click it, the screen flickered, and the yes button clicked itself. I half expected a rickroll or some jump scare site. Instead, a video feed began to buffer. It showed a dimly lit room with concrete walls and a single metal chair in the center. A figure sat slumped in the chair, hooded and bound. A second figure, standing in the shadows, wore a red surgical gown and a blank white mask. The only sound was a dull hum, like the buzz of an old CRT television. A live chat scrolled on the right side of the screen. But there were no usernames, just colored identifiers. White mask 1. Subject 73 active. Admin. Welcome to the session. Observer Rosand. Our new viewers connected. Let's begin. I reached for the power button, but the keyboard was locked. The mouse cursor froze. Then on the screen, session begins in 3, 2, 1. The feed sharpened. I could see the bound figure clearly now. Mid-30s, unshaven, shaking, breathing heavily. His hood was ripped off by the masked man, revealing a bloody forehead and swollen eyes. He tried to speak through the gag. The chat scrolled again. Observer 1000, please cast your vote. A new menu appeared on my screen. Choose the next action. Cut cheek, remove fingernail. Shock genitals. Play recording of his family. End session. My stomach flipped. I tried closing the browser. No luck. I yanked the Ethernet cable, still connected. I powered off the tower. Nothing. Then a message appeared. Physical disconnect attempts detected. Remote override enabled. And under that, all votes are final. I didn't vote, but the cursor moved on its own. Hovered over play recording of his family. Clicked. The masked man tapped a device. Speakers in the room played a child's voice. "Daddy, where are you? Are you coming home?" The man in the chair wept, and in the corner of the feed, I saw a timestamp. One I recognized. It was from a video I'd seen in a private police archive months ago. This wasn't fake. This wasn't scripted. It was real. The feed went quiet, but the chat didn't. Observer Thousanders, you've been chosen. Not everyone gets to see this. White mask. We watch the watchers. Admin. Your next, viewer. I checked my router. No response. I tried a hard reboot. No change. Then the second feed appeared in a small window in the bottom right corner. It was my room. A perfect live feed of me, sitting at my desk, eyes wide, pale. But here's the thing. I'd physically disabled my webcam, removed the lens entirely. There should be no way that was possible. The chat kept scrolling. White mask 1. Nice setup you have. Is that a 3090 in your tower? Admin. Try looking behind you. I spun around. Nothing. Then the laptop speakers played the sound of my door creaking open. But it hadn't until it did. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer, locked myself in the bathroom, and waited. For hours, but no one came. When I returned to the computer, the screen was black again. Then red. A message appeared. Session 73 complete. Next session 74 in 24H. Viewer confirmed. New subject accepted. I wiped the drive, smashed the SSD, destroyed the machine, left the apartment that night. I haven't been back. 3 days later, my phone, brand new, registered under a fake name, buzzed. Blocked number. Text only. Thanks for hosting session 73. Attached. A photo of me sleeping in a hotel room I never posted about online. Never registered with my real name. Another text followed. You're not the first. You won't be the last. I researched everything. Tried finding traces of Red Key Door 73 or any variation of that onion. Nothing. It was gone. Scrubbed. But I found a forum. A hidden paste site that archived anonymous confessions. One entry, dated August 2020. Saw session 55. Voted once. Couldn't stop the stream. They found my sister a week later. Said it was a gas leak. It wasn't. She had a red key taped to her chest. Another entry, July 2019. Session 49. Voted end session. Thought it would kill the feed. It didn't. It made them come for me instead. The watchers reward mercy with participation. There were dozens of entries like it, all referencing sessions, all ending with red keys. 6 months later, I received a package. No return address, no stamps. Inside, a single red-painted key, engraved with 3 numbers. 74, no note, no explanation. Just the knowledge that I'd just become the next subject. Despite the widespread urban legend of red rooms, no verifiable red room has ever been uncovered. Law enforcement has busted major darknet sites like Welcome to Video, Boys Town, hurt to the core. No limits fun, Peter Scully. But none involved live-streamed interactive torture as described in Red Room Myths. Still, the idea persists, because somewhere between myth and madness, between hidden servers and encrypted streams, is the possibility that something exists out there, not for profit, not for pleasure, but for audience. And if you ever find yourself looking at a screen that asks, "Do you accept?" say no, and pray it believes you. They say the worst things you'll ever see online aren't found by accident. But for 22-year-old Tyler Hart, a senior computer science student at Northwestern, it wasn't an accident. It was curiosity. A dangerous kind. The kind that thrives in the deep corners of the internet where words like Tor, Onion Mirror, and zero-day exploit are part of daily vocabulary. Tyler didn't believe in red rooms. Sure, he'd read the stories, dark web urban legends of live-streamed torture sessions, paid in crypto where sick viewers vote on what happens next. But he thought it was all fake. ARGs, hoaxes, YouTube clickbait. So when a user named Null9 messaged him on a hacking forum offering a ticket to something called Red Room 219, he assumed it was another creepy interactive website. He accepted. 2 minutes later, he received a link. There was no login screen, no terms, just a black background, a red key icon, and a single line. Session starts at 03:30, headphones on. We see who watches. Tyler booted into Tails, launched Tor, and entered the link at exactly 2:59 a.m. The site changed. A video feed loaded slowly. The quality was grainy but stable. It showed a concrete room with red-tinted lights. A person sat in a chair at the center, hooded wrists and ankles duct-taped to the frame. At the top corner, text appeared. Red Room 219, subject Valro 6, viewer 01. There was no chat window, no viewer count, just a silence that felt aware. At 3:30, a second figure entered frame, tall, wearing red scrubs, face hidden by a white expressionless mask. Tyler's screen flickered. Then a sound came through the headphones, a synthetic voice. "Welcome, viewer 01. You have been selected as tonight's controller." Tyler froze. "You will choose. You will direct. You cannot leave until the session ends." He reached for the power button, but the system didn't respond. He yanked the laptop's battery. Still, the screen stayed on. That was impossible, unless the stream was never running on his machine to begin with. The masked man stood beside the chair. On screen, a poll appeared. Choose the next action. A remove hood. B slap face. See play scream audio. D shock. Low. A end session. A 5-second countdown began. Tyler didn't click. At 0, A was automatically selected. The masked man pulled the hood from the subject's face. Tyler gasped. She was maybe 17, bruised, blood at the corner of her lip, eyes swollen from crying. She stared blankly into the camera. Then a second prompt. Choose next action. A punch, be cut forearm. C burn hand. D force feed audio of mother. A end session. He screamed at the screen. "No, no!" But the cursor moved without him. D. The masked figure tapped a tablet. Suddenly, from the room's speakers, a woman's voice played on loop. "Sweetheart, it's okay. You're safe. Mommy loves you." The girl convulsed and screamed. Tyler tried to shut the laptop again. He held the power button. Nothing worked. Even physically unplugging his modem didn't kill the connection. It wasn't his network anymore. Then the feed changed. A second camera feed appeared in the bottom right corner. It was his bedroom. Tyler, sitting at his desk from behind. He turned around in real life. Nothing. Just the wall. But in the stream, the feed was live. Real time. The synthetic voice returned. "We see who watches." Viewer 01 confirmed. Chat messages began appearing, though he hadn't seen a chat window until now. Redworm. He's panicking. Good. Candleface 3. Bet he makes it to vote 6. Null9. He asked for this. Tyler typed into the terminal, trying to kill processes, close the stream, anything. But his commands were ignored. Another vote appeared. This time, choose how she begs. A crawl to the camera. B recite her name and age. C sing Twinkle Twinkle. D scream for viewer 001. A end session. He clicked E furiously. But it didn't register. The cursor moved to D, and she did. Tears streamed down her face. "Please, viewer 001, please stop." She looked into the camera. Into him. Tyler smashed the laptop screen with a metal flashlight, but the feed didn't end. He turned to his TV. The feed was playing there too. He hadn't even connected the devices. Then his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You are connected. Session 219 does not end until you choose properly." Then an image, his parents' house taken from the backyard. The timestamp was 2:59 a.m. He hadn't told anyone he was watching. He hadn't shared the link. But they knew. They knew everything. On screen, the subject now lay on the floor. She was motionless, eyes open, breathing shallow, blood pooled under her arm. Tyler sobbed. He was shaking, hysterical. Then came the final prompt. 1 vote remains. Choose carefully. A mercy will wake her. See repeat session. D new subject. E end session. He hovered over A. Clicked. Nothing. The cursor slid to D and the second feed expanded. A new room, a new chair, empty until a door opened, and he walked in. On screen, him. Same clothes, same hair, same sweat. He sat down confused. Then masked figures entered. He watched himself be restrained. He screamed, but the feed had no audio now. Then his phone buzzed again. A new message. Thank you, viewer 002. You are now live. Tyler Hart vanished on October 13th, 2022. He was last seen leaving his apartment in Evanston, Illinois. Police found his laptop destroyed, the hard drive shattered. His Wi-Fi router had been physically melted, burnt plastic on the desk. There were no signs of forced entry, but written on the wall in red marker, 219 is live. His story became an online myth. Conspiracy boards talked about the 219 feed. Others called it a suicide. No hard evidence remained, except one detail. An anonymous Reddit account posted this a month later. If you get the invite, don't open it. Session 220 is already watching you. Thank you for listening. Hope I didn't scare you too much. If you like my stories, please consider giving me a like and subscribe. See you next time.